Okay, I posted that I am moving to Vietnam, and of course, lots of questions. Why aren't you happy with where you're at? So forth and so on. So, I'm gonna give a little discourse on all of this. I've traveled my whole life. From the time I was 10, I went to the United States, then I went up to Alaska, I hitchhiked a couple of times, went on a motorcycle, lived in Canada, lived in Mexico, lived in my RV. Was a nomad, traveled from place to place. And realistically, I couldn't really travel as much as I would have liked, and it involved a lot of driving because of the price of gas. I mean, to fill up my truck was like $300. I'm pulling the trailer, if I was lucky, I get 12 miles a gallon. Thank God it was a Cummins diesel, so it got good mileage, but still. But I was very comfortable, but I really didn't want to work anymore. And on Social Security in the United States, I really couldn't have the lifestyle that I wanted. So I thought, well, I'll just move somewhere where I can. So I moved to Nicaragua, landed here for a little over a year, and it's been great. I've enjoyed my time here. I get a little over $1,100 a month, and I can save a couple $100 a month. I live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a garage and a yard. I eat tomahawk steak, shrimp, and everything else. And it's fantastic, The food here, it's not quite to my liking because it's mostly rice and beans, and this kind of food that I didn't grow up with. I'm Argentine, but it's mostly Italian and Spanish food. So, I started looking around and it's like, oh, I lived in Thailand for 6 months and I went back one time for a month and I loved it. The language barrier, it's a problem. And so I started looking around and I found this place, Da Nang, which is really hot right now. It's 1.2 million people, so there's lots of things to do. There's nightclubs, dancing, there is jazz, blues, and they're on a beach with a beautiful boardwalk. They have coffee shops, they have exercise machines that you can go out there. People go out there and do Tai Chi and exercise, and it's free to join, that. And the funny thing is here, and then some of the people in the United States say, oh no, that can't be. I'm paying $285 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a garage house in a nice neighborhood. I can walk to the market, 15 minutes by bus to the beach, or on my motorcycle, either one. I got my electric bill for running my AC, which you can see up there, 24/7 for the last month, and it came to $166. And I have the projector, which uses quite a bit of electricity as well. In Thailand, or in Vietnam, I've been looking at a lot of videos. There's a guy that I follow, and he's probably better than most at bargaining. But he doesn't speak Thai either, or Vietnamese either. And he's got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment on the 40th floor, 2 blocks from the beach with a view of the river, the Golden Bridge, in a wonderful location, and he's paying $485, and that includes all utilities, including Wi-Fi, including electricity. It's got 2 air conditioners, the whole 9 yards, and it's got a deck outside. I'm paying $285, and electricity costs me $166, so you do the math. It's pretty darn close. I'm paying $30 for internet, high-speed internet. And that's the other thing. Here, the high speed is 230 download and 24 upload. There, it's 400 download and 400 upload. So it's way faster and better. And a cell phone that I'm paying, $10, $15 a month, there is $10 for unlimited. Here, I have to go charge it every few days. And the reality is the temperature is about the same. There's a lot more seafood. There's a lot of places to eat. Here, you can eat really cheap, but it's beans and rice. If you want to eat better, it's like you want to go to a nice breakfast, like American style breakfast is $10, $12 in downtown Leon. In Vietnam, and I love Vietnamese food. I mean, when I lived in Portland for 30 years, Vietnamese people, most of them were refugees that came from Vietnam. So there's a huge Vietnamese population. I used to go out to eat Vietnamese when I worked out in the street, selling cable or whatever. I go out and eat Vietnamese food 3 or 4 times a week, and happy to do it. And in Vietnam, I look at all the food that they have, the street vendors or shops. You can, and these guys have done videos on it showing eating on $5 a day, not cooking a meal, having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a snack or a coffee. And they all can do it under $5. So, the other day I bought some good meat here. It cost me $52, and it's way cheaper than the US. But $5 a day for eating 3 meals prepared that I love, it's even better. And it's right on the beach. You don't even need a license. I can buy a motorcycle over there for $200 up to $400. And if you buy a small motorcycle that's under 50 cc's, you don't even need a license for that. You can just drive that wherever you want. I saw a video of a guy, and he's written a book about it, but he drove 250,000 kilometers in Vietnam, which 250,000 kilometers, that's about 150,000 miles, toured all over on a Yamaha 125. So it's amazing, There is no big bikes over there, just like here in Nicaragua. It's like the biggest one you can get really is like a 250. But that works great. I mean, my bike that I'm selling now, it's a Ray-Bar 200, which is an Indian bike. They're the second biggest manufacturer in the world, I think. I fill it up with gas once every 2 or 3 weeks, and I drive around, go shopping, go this, go that, and it hardly ever runs out. I mean, it's amazing how much gas you can drive around with for a week or 2 at a time. So the medical, I'm not covered here, but I am covered here because in Nicaragua, medical care is free for everybody. In Vietnam, it's not free, but it's really, really cheap, and it's really high quality. So people that have gone over there, they've had CAT scans and cholesterol screening, not of the blood kind, but where they actually look at your arteries as they flow to make sure there's no blockages and all that. For $50 to $150, you can have a whole workup for $200, and that's everything. Dental, I have a friend of mine, Tim, who is looking at having some dental work done, and he was going to go to Costa Rica, and I put him in touch with somebody that I got from a video over there. He sent him a question, they answered in perfect English, they told him what it would be, and he said it was about a third less than what it was in Costa Rica. Plus, it's very expensive in Costa Rica. He looked at the airplane tickets, and from the US to Vietnam, to the town I'm in, or I'm going to be in, it was $1,200, including a month hotel. And these hotels are actually really nice. You can get a studio, and it's funny because they have a lot of high rises that are hotels / monthly rentals. Here in Nicaragua, I had to buy everything. And if you've seen my channel, you've seen me struggle to buy this, that, and the other thing at the beginning, And a fellow by the name of Per, bless his heart, lent me $1,000 when I first came because I only had $200 to my name. I hadn't sold anything yet. So I was able to buy the stove, the refrigerator, the bed, all these things that I needed. Now I'm selling them all. In Vietnam, all the apartments come furnished. They come with pots, pans, bedding, 30 to 60-inch TVs, couches, air conditioning, everything. And 99.9% of them include house cleaning once a week. You can't go wrong with that. They even include, rice steamers and, utensils and forks and knives and plates and cups and all that, which is pretty good. So I figured I can go over there. If I love it, I can stay as long as I want. If I don't like it, I can go to another place. Here in the United States, it's very expensive to go anywhere. Mexico, I actually lived in Mexico, but then they changed the rules, and with the cartels, it got a little bit too weird. And there really wasn't too many other places to go that was close, other than Nicaragua or farther south. And Europe is very expensive, so I couldn't afford that. But in Vietnam, it's really cheap. It's 30% cheaper than Thailand, which is pretty cheap. And it's about 40% cheaper than here, I would say, for the food, for sure. The rentals, you can get cheaper ones than what I'm paying by far, depending on what you want. I mean, I met this couple a retired couple from the United States. They rented a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 3-story townhouse with an outdoor bath and views for $580. Okay, so you can do that, or you can get a studio for $200, depending on where. In Vietnam, people say, "Oh, it's so hot." Well, I like it hot. I like going to the beach, and I like to be able to walk down there, go snorkeling on the rocks, 200 yards offshore. But you can also go to the north where there's actually snow, if you want, and everywhere in between. Vietnam has one of those must-do motorcycle tours that they take you through the whole country. And it's amazing, some of the places, the streets are nuts, in the city. But having driven a motorcycle for 4 or 5 months in Bangkok, it's no big deal to me. I mean, driving in Da Nang is a small town comparison to Bangkok. Unlike anything, you have to be careful. You have to know what you're doing. But that's, whether you're going hiking in Alaska and Bear Country, or, going surfing in Santa Cruz, or going scuba diving, where there's kelp fields or currents. You have to be prepared. So as long as you're smart and do the right thing, should be okay. Now, there's no accounting for everything, but, I've seen lots of people get killed in Phoenix and in Portland, just crossing the street, or just, sleeping in their bed and a tree falls over. So the question is not why am I doing this, but why not? That's the thing. I'm not married. My kids are full grown. They have their own lives. I can struggle in the United States on $1,000 a month, or I can live like a king in other places, on the beach, go out, have drinks and have coffee. Oh yeah, Vietnam is like the second biggest coffee producer in the world. And just like Portland is a microbrew capital of the world, or was for a long time, Vietnam is like the coffee, king. They have all sorts of interesting coffee, so I'm looking forward to it. And their coffee, it's 200 to 300 more caffeine, which is pretty interesting. So it's it'll be an adventure. When I went to Thailand, because I was paying child support, I saved myself enough child support for 6 months, but then I had to come back and keep working so I could do it. Now I don't need to pay anything, so I can live on my Social Security just fine and not worry about anything and be okay. So it's an adventure. You guys are welcome to come and join me. I am excited about this. I've already talked to a couple of people about selling all my stuff here. I would love for an expat, for somebody to come and want to buy everything I have here. The projector, the fans, the cabinets, the 2 air conditioners, the kitchen supplies, everything. Just move in, it'd be great. But if you know somebody, let me know. If you want to come down and take over the place, that's fine too. I'll even throw in the motorcycle for the right price. So, all right. Well, that is pretty much it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask away. I'm going to put this up in YouTube, in my channel. So like and subscribe and share it with anybody. And, well, that's pretty much it. Have a great day and enjoy life. That's the key to it all. Many times I've worked all sorts of jobs, and one of the jobs I did is I worked for the state taking care of people until they passed away, they were sick. I took care of my sister until she passed away, so forth and so on. There is no time like the present. Many people said, well, I'll do it when this happens or when that happens, and then by then it was too late. So take the time to do what you want to do now, because tomorrow is not guaranteed, or next week, So that's my help to you guys. Do whatever you want when you can. I watched this thing from Warren Buffett, talking about saving money so you can retire even if you have to work until 80. And I'm like, well, why? Why not think outside the box instead of trying to struggle to make a $1,500 a month rental payment for a 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom in the United States? Why not move out of the country and live so much better, have adventures, and have fun? I used to set up solar for a couple of ladies that were living in their vans because they could not afford to live anywhere else with their $600 to $800 a month Social Security payment. And of course, you have to be willing to go outside of the box to leave the country. And it was scary and all that, but it's scary crossing the street in Phoenix. So, and the interesting thing is that right now, everything is so much safer here than it is in the United States. I'm not sure that people believe that, but I walk around at night, I never worry about it. In Phoenix, it's like, When I went there were a bunch of homeless people peeing, in the bus stops and all that, and it was like, oh my God. And in Portland, there was like homeless shanty towns all over the place. Here, you don't see that at all. And in Vietnam, even less. And there's all sorts of websites that you can look up if you want. Numbeo is one that you can compare any major city in the world with another city and see the difference in prices for chicken, for rentals, for clothes, for Nike shoes, whatever. So it gives you a pretty good idea. And you can look at the safety statistics, the robberies, murders, and all of that. And the United States is nowhere near as safe as people think it is. And there's a lot of other places in the world a lot safer. Here in Nicaragua, I lived in Matagalpa, where half of the street were retired police or military. I never had a problem with anybody. They were all really nice. Walking the streets, you ask the cops, you could laugh with them and all that. In the United States, not so much. I got harassed for coming home from work when I was at the gate of where I lived by a sheriff. He's like, what are you doing here? Like, oh, I'm coming home. Why? He's like, well, because I was working. So, and it was like this attitude that here you don't get at all. So, it's another experience. I've had many, and I will probably have many more. So, like and subscribe and enjoy what you see. And comment. Let me know what you think.